The Rock, the people's champion, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, Hollywood's biggest draw, doesn't know how to train, apparently, according to his Instagram followers. If The Rock, who is in his 50s, looks as he does and doesn't know how to train, imagine what The Rock would look like if he did know how to train. But what has The Rock been doing so wrong to get this viral hate?
It doesn't matter!
Actually, it does, and that's what we're looking at in today's video of The Rock doesn't know how to train, apparently. Before we jump into that, let me know down in the comments below who your favourite wrestler is, and I'll be revealing my favourite wrestler at the end of today's video. So The Rock has posted on his Instagram a video of him finishing off a chest workout with a incline Smith machine press. In the caption, he says he's training opposing muscle groups, chest and back, which is actually a very old school way of training amongst bodybuilders. The push-pull legs crowd and functional training crowd might be losing the shit right now, but training opposing muscle groups is an old school way that bodybuilders trained. Arnold used to do it, Eddie Elwood used to do it, I've done it under Eddie Elwood's advice. It's good to train this style, especially if you're in a little bit of a rush, because if you want to train chest and back, you can train them using supersets to get in and out of the gym quicker. In the post, The Rock states he doesn't go too heavy as this is the end of his workout, but he's still doing 275 pounds, which is about 125 kilograms or 2.5 plates a side on the Smith incline press. This is definitely heavy for the average gym goer, and even for somebody who's been training pretty serious for a while, this is still heavy ass weight. But remember, strength is relative. Let's say The Rock could bench 225 kilogram on the incline Smith machine if he was starting his workout off for 6 reps, then this weight he's doing here is actually very light in comparison to that. Remember, strength is relative. What's important to remember here is not to compare your understanding of heavy to somebody else's understanding of heavy. Be mindful as to how far you bring the weight down to mitigate the stress on your shoulders. He says he had complete shoulder reconstruction surgery, and this is what has sparked all of the hate on this post. Dozens, hundreds, if not thousands,
Millions!
of people are trying to tell The Rock that he doesn't know how to lift. There's a reason The Rock is lifting with a partial range of motion here. He's literally saying it in the post. He's literally giving you the reason as to why he's moving this weight with only a limited range of motion. I'm about to cover the exact reason as to why he's lifting with partial range of movement in about 30 seconds, but first, what The Rock is doing here is something I can totally relate to, because in February of this year, I broke my shoulder. I suffered a grade 3.5 AC joint disruption, taking a powerbomb in a wrestling match, and it just absolutely obliterated my shoulder. I was told I was going to need surgery. In that time, I was trying to see if I could rehab and recover without the surgery, so we set a 3-month marker on that. Luckily, with physio, with rehab, with continuous training, I was able to recover to the point where the surgeon said, let's not opt for the surgery, let's see how your recovery keeps on going. But the shoulder pain in my shoulder is still definitely there, and any kind of chest pressing aggravates it. Shoulder presses, fine, I can train them all day long, but chest pressing, specifically flat press and incline press, aggravates the pain in the shoulder when I'm doing that movement. So what The Rock's saying here, I can totally relate to. Wanting to still lift heavy or heavy-ish and actually feel like you're working the muscle, but doing so in a safe, controlled range of motion. The surgeon and doctors have told me, continue lifting at a comfortable weight in a comfortable range of motion. I go down too low and I start getting shoulder pain, that ain't doing anything at all for my chest, so I'm not going to go that low. Does that mean that I'm training wrong? Maybe all the commenters from The Rock's page can come and let me know. After suffering a major injury or having a major surgery, like in The Rock's case, you need to adapt how you train.
But Shreddy, The Rock should lower the weight. The Rock should start lifting with better range of motion.
Do you know where The Rock thinks his followers should go and stick those comments?
Turn that sumbitch sideways and stick it straight up! You can do it!
The reason The Rock is lifting with this partial range of motion is because this is the comfortable range that he can still work the chest with activate the chest with, and still develop the chest muscle without aggravating any of that pain from the shoulder. As somebody who lifts heavy on a regular basis, The Rock, who's been training for decades, he is not going to be able to go to the gym and simply lift lighter and still get the same benefits out of that workout. To him, this weight is probably lighter. So for The Rock to still get that good workout in, he can just train with a partial range of movement by probably doing exercises at the front of his workout that don't aggravate the shoulder. That's what I now do with my chest workout. I now start my chest workouts off with cable movements, pec decks, with seated decline presses. And if I'm going to do any kind of incline press, I always leave that to last because the chest has been pre-exhausted. I don't need to go as heavy. And then when I do go to that weight, rather than putting on a super low weight where I'm not even going to feel the chest and go through a full range of movement, I will put on a weight that I can comfortably lift without aggravating the shoulder, and I will go through a range of movement where I can definitely feel the chest working without that shoulder coming into play. That's exactly what The Rock is doing here. He'll have already done his other chest and his other back exercises because he says this is the end of his workout. He's finishing with a compound movement that traditionally you would start your workout off with, but what he's doing here is fatiguing the chest. Finish off with this exercise. In his caption, he says he's slowing down the eccentric part of the exercise, fancy word for lowering the bar, increasing the time under tension, making the muscle work harder without having to put more weight on and without having to go through the full range of movement that would actually aggravate his shoulder. But because The Rock was training differently to how people expect him to, because The Rock was training differently to how some of his followers might train themselves, they started to bury The Rock in the comments on this post. And I'm guessing most of the people commenting were wrestling fans, because wrestling fans also think they know more about wrestling than the wrestlers themselves, so it makes sense that The Rock's fans here think that they know more about how to train when they're probably out of shape themselves. Here's a reality check. The Rock is in his 50s. The Rock looks mint. The Rock knows what he's doing when it comes to training. The Rock knows how to train, and The Rock knows the limitations of his training that his body is capable of. So for the people commenting on The Rock's Instagram post telling me he doesn't know what he's doing, you're fucking idiots. What you need to remember is that just because somebody is training slightly different to the way that you're training doesn't mean that they are doing something wrong. They are training within the confines or the limitations of what their body is allowing them to. So before you jump onto somebody's post to bury them for doing something differently to how you might do it, just bear that in mind. Literally, the last video I made was a video explaining how to get bigger legs and bigger quads without free bar squatting, and I've got people telling me in the comments of my own videos that I'm wrong. I don't know what I'm talking about when I have built bigger, better legs, bigger, better quads without doing free bar squats. Mental. You can check that out video here if you're interested in it. Remember at the start of this video, I said I would tell you who my favourite wrestler is? Well, I will. But before I do that, make sure to comment your favourite wrestler down below. Shreddy's favourite wrestler is The Rock. Check out this playlist for more of my wrestling and bodybuilding content, and subscribe to always be ready to watch Shreddy.